Hi, and welcome back to my channel. It's Danielle Doucette, the Kartra coach. I'm here on March 12th, 2026, filming this video for you because Kartra has released an update to sequences, and I'm going to walk you through it. Here's the thing. If you've been using Kartra for a while, like I have, this is going to be something that you now have to retrain your muscle memory because things are moved around and they look a little different. They're in different places. I don't know. We're going to go through it together to see how much of a benefit there is to this or if it's just change for change's sake. And if you're new to Kartra, this is going to be a walkthrough of how you use sequences. So let's get into it. Going to open up one of my test sequences here. This part has not changed. So we still have the pause play button. We still have the edit pencil, the gear for settings, which is how you would rename the sequence here, where you're going to edit the name of the sequence for your reference, the public description, and that's it. We'll save there. And the three dots, which will give you clone and delete. You can either click the pencil to edit to get into the canvas or click on the name of the sequence. Either way, here we are in the brand new sequence canvas builder. One thing I noticed is that now everything is blue. Kartra historically has loved to do this, make changes just to change the layout, change the colors of things. And for someone like myself who records tutorials and says, when you're connecting steps, you'll change the gray half circles to yellow and you'll know it's connected. And now you'll notice it's all blue. All right. Let's get into, though, what we have to work with now, shall we? In the starting rules, we can hover over our existing starting rule and we have edit or delete just like we used to, or click the pencil to pull up the starting rules. Luckily, nothing here has changed. If you haven't yet watched a previous tutorial of mine on sequences, I will let you know you are almost always going to be choosing from opt-in form or order. Opt-in form is when they fill out one of your forms, like for a lead magnet, a contact form, to grab a resource of yours, to get on a wait list, anything that they are filling out a form for free. Or order. This is going to be when they pay for something, when they purchase one of your products. It's called order, and then you'd select what product it is. You're going to use tag as a starting rule only if you want to make sure that this sequence only fires the first time a tag is added. A lot of other trainers and marketers who are used to using or teaching other platforms will always revert to telling you to use a tag, but in Kartra, you don't need to. There are built-in filters, there are built-in triggers, just like the opt-in form and the order. Now, if you create a tag to tell you that someone bought something, and then you use that tag as the starting rule here, you're just making extra work for yourself. And not only do you need to create the tag, categorize the tag, use the tag here, you need to remove the tag so that if somebody were to buy that product again later, they get this email sequence again. So please just trust me. Opt-in form and order are your two best friends. Tag when you specifically need it. List, never. Page visit, never. Sequence, never. Basic automations, sometimes. Basic automations are great starting rules if you have other triggers besides the action of filling out a form or buying a product. So what might that be? Well, one of them is survey. So if you have a Kartra survey and you want to subscribe someone to a sequence, after they fill that survey out, use the automation and use the survey filter. If you want to take it one step further and subscribe someone to a sequence because they got a certain score on the survey, you can do that by selecting the survey and then choosing the survey score is, and then you can do equal to, higher than, or lower than, and you can put in the number. Some of the other reasons why you'd want to use an automation to subscribe someone to a sequence might be if you want to say, if somebody buys this product and is a member of this membership or is on this list, if you have two qualifiers besides just that they fill out a form or buy a product, you can do that here in automations. Now let's go to our email step here. Let's deactivate and see it does gray out and it does have a red inactive tag. If we hover over the three dots, our menu shows up here. Let's go ahead and activate that step back and take a look. One of the big changes here is that now you can go straight into editing the email content without having to click the edit the step first. Edit step settings is separated out. So let's take a look at edit email content. We come straight in here and the only two choices in this box are going to be our gateway and our email content. That's nice because it does allow us kind of to just get straight in there if we're editing just the content and nothing else in the step settings. Now let's get to the step settings. This is where things have definitely changed. Things are in a different order. Let's take a look. The first thing is the communication name. This is for your reference only. This is how you can tell the difference between steps in a long sequence. This is helpful rather than have each of these say the same thing or have them say email 1, email 2, email 3. It's way more helpful if you put a name here that helps you to know what the actual content in that step is. That way in the future, if you decide to move things around, you know more about what that email is besides email number 13, for example. The next step here is recipients, and this selection process is the same. It's just in a different order here. Now we have automation moved up. The delay step, then the day and time. Let's take a look at the process for adding a brand new email from the sidebar. I'm going to drag that over and drop it. I'm going to give you my recommendation since we're right here. Almost always I use the plain text builder. I don't recommend using the HTML templates unless you absolutely need your emails to look quote unquote pretty, because deliverability for a plain text email is going to be much higher. Your mileage may vary, and if you love your beautiful emails, just ignore me and use your templates. But if you ever get curious and you want to test it, try sending a few plain text emails and see if your open rates go up. All right, so we've selected our template and here's our inactive step. One thing that I did like is that these steps sometimes go all over the place on the canvas, and this one just stayed exactly where I dropped it. The steps in order, are they in order of the way that I would have put them for the order of operation that makes sense? No. I'm not editing my email content before I edit my step settings. I just personally would think it's more important to start out with the settings of the email. And the first thing that I would set is the delay. So having it down at the bottom here doesn't make sense to me. The first thing I want to do is decide when is this email going out? Is it right after previous step? Is it going to be one day later? Just a reminder, if you're new here and new to using Kartra and you're trying to learn sequences, it's important to note here that when you're doing a wait a number of days or hours, this is counting from the previous step, not from the beginning of the sequence. So I'm going to put in a 1-day delay. I'm also going to leave you with a note here on execute on a specific date. For the most part, like 98% of the time, if you have an email that needs to go out at a specific date and time, send it please as an email broadcast inside of emails and SMS. Do not put emails that need to go out to the right people at the right time on a specific date and time into an email sequence. There are just too many factors that can happen that will make that email not go to the right people. Please trust me on this. Okay. But I want to set my delay, and then I want to make sure my day and time is set as well. Most of the time, you'll probably be leaving day and time exactly as it is to go out on every day at any day any time of the day. But let's say that you have an email that is going to go out only on Wednesdays, you can select that. Or only in the morning, for example, you can select that. Keeping in mind, though, that when you select an email that's going to go out between 9 and 10 a.m., let's say, that's going to be in your time zone, not in the recipient's time zone. So let's go back to this. Then I would be wanting to figure out, okay, who are my recipients? Inside of email sequences, most of the time, anyone reaching this step is going to be exactly what you want this to be. I see some people setting up their sequence and their starting rule is because someone's on a certain list, which already has broken one of my rules. But let's just say that we say when they fill out a form, but then the recipients in here, they need to have filled out that form, or they need to be on a certain list, or they need to be subscribed to sequence. None of that matters here because the action that they took to get into this sequence means here they are. It's anyone reaching this step because the people who haven't filled out this form aren't in here, right? Does that make sense? This should mostly be anyone reaching this step. When you will want to make more of a filter here might be if this was a sales sequence and you wanted to exclude the people who have already purchased the product that you're selling. That way, if they got into this sequence and they've purchased, you can exclude them from receiving this email. As a side note, you could also do that by having an automation inside of the product that unsubscribes them from the sequence when they make the purchase. And personally, I like to go that route, but this you could have as a secondary, as a fail safe, or if you prefer doing it this way, that's okay too. But you really don't need to go beyond anyone reaching this step unless you have a specific reason to further filter who gets the email. The ignore GDPR and CCPA yellow box. I'm thankful that this is still the same color it was and it says the same thing. It does say in parentheses here, not recommended. And it tells you a little bit more about what this means. It says you would include contacts who have not agreed to receive communications from you. Now, here's the thing. This is not recommended for every email in your sequence, because then you had people who declined letting you email them and now you're overriding that. However, the reason why you absolutely would want to click this box here is if this email is delivering something that the person opted in for. So if they filled out a form to get a lead magnet and this is the email that's going to deliver that lead magnet to them, check this box so that they receive this email. If it's the rest of the sequence and the emails are newsletters or selling something else or doing things that they did not agree to receive, then yeah, then it would be not recommended. But you absolutely want to make sure that you are checking this box if the email is regarding a lead magnet or a product that they opted in for or purchased. If this is a challenge they signed up for, you do need to send them the challenge emails. So check that box. If it's anything else like a newsletter, if it is a marketing email, go ahead and not. The next thing here is automation, and you might be wondering, why would I create automations inside of these emails? Well, these automations are based on things like whether they open this email or they do not open this email within a certain amount of hours. If they click on a link and then select which link, or if they do not click on the link within a certain amount of hours, then you can do an action because of that. And this is one of the things I love most about Kartra is that there are actions in here that you can just set. There's no need to create a tag and then have that tag kick off an automation. Okay? Based on the actions of opening or clicking or not, you can subscribe someone to a list or unsubscribe them. Assign a tag or unassign a tag. Assign a custom field or delete a custom field. Subscribe or unsubscribe from a different sequence. Move contact to a different step in this sequence. You can give them points or subtract points. Grant access or revoke access to a membership. Register them or unregister them from a webinar. You can subscribe them to a calendar or cancel their subscription. You can refund their order or cancel their subscription. So many built-in automations in here, and I think that this is one of the features that's not celebrated and talked about enough inside of Kartra. I just love it. Okay, but for the most part, will your emails have automation? Possibly not. We already looked at the delay and the day and time, and to be honest with you, this is the part that I really wish these had stayed at the top. So now let's go ahead and activate our step, and let's try dragging it down to where I want it to go in my sequence. So the drag and drop is a little more responsive than it was before, and I do like that when I drop this on the canvas, it goes exactly where I want. I'm using the wheel on my mouse to zoom in and out, and that is kind of cool. I'm going to add this email in before the automation and the unsubscribe at the end of my sequence. So let's see what I have here. Send email. Then I have assign tag, an automation, and an unsubscribe. So I want to stick this last email between step 4 and step 2. So I'm going to draw a line from step 4 to step 6 and from 6 to step 2. So this is interesting. In the previous builder, the lines were always straight and just went straight to where they need to be. Now we have these swingy, curvy, swooshy lines, which is interesting. Okay, but I'm going to do one of the favorite things to do inside of sequences is to click on arrange items in the top, and that is going to draw everything into a nice straight line. And here we can see there's step 4. Here's step 6, the new email I created, and step 2, the assign tag start welcome sequence. Okay, so let's talk about how I've ended this sequence in here and how I recommend you end your sequences. So why do I have a tag in here called start welcome sequence? Well, I have it set that way because at the end of this sequence, I want someone to get the tag called start welcome sequence, and the automation that's going to happen from there is that they're going to be subscribed to my welcome sequence. The reason why I use a tag for this is that I can add this tag in all of my sequences at the end of them. And the first time someone gets that tag, they will be subscribed to the welcome sequence. And any other time they go through another sequence and they get to the step that assigns the tag, since they already have it, they're not going to keep going through that welcome sequence again. So that is a specific use of tags that I absolutely love to do in Kartra. And that's what I'm doing here. That gives you a universal welcome sequence that you can create once, edit and update in one place, and have all of your lead magnets and your products and all of your entry points funnel into that one sequence, so that no matter what somebody comes in through first, they get added to the sequence, and no matter what else they go through after that, they do not go through that sequence again. It is so much more manageable and scalable than having the same welcome emails in all of your lead magnets and all of your products, where people have to either get those emails over and over and over again, or if you need to update one of those emails, you have to go into every sequence you've created and update it in all those places. So that is a universal welcome sequence, and I use a tag as the starting rule for that. Now, after that, in this test sequence, it looks like I've added an automation when the contact reaches this step and they have opened email in the last 7 days. Okay, so this is one of the ways that I like to ensure that before someone gets added to my primary list, also to my newsletter, that they have opened at least one of the emails in the sequence they just went through. This is a perfect addition to your sequences if you have cold traffic coming through. If you're running Facebook lead ads, if you have social media leads that are coming in for a lead magnet and you're finding that a lot of them aren't opening any of your emails, this is a great way to filter them out from getting onto your primary and your newsletter list. In this case, this automation only adds them to these lists if they've opened an email in the last 7 days. We have the delay of right after the previous step and the day and time. Again, this doesn't make sense. The delay should be the very first thing here. The options should be after that. But it is what it is. This is how I have this automation set. Then the last step in my sequence is going to be unsubscribe from sequence. So let's open up that step settings, and it's pretty simple here. We have unsubscribe from sequence and we've selected this sequence. The delay is right after the previous step. You do not want to keep people trapped in a sequence after the sequence has done its job. The reason why we want to unsubscribe rather than do something like a complete step is that a complete step holds the contact in that step, which means that they'll always see this sequence in their list of subscriptions when they go to unsubscribe from an email or when they go to manage their subscriptions. They will always be subscribed to this test sequence, right? And I say test because that's what we're calling this sequence. But if this was a lead magnet, they would see that they're subscribed to this lead magnet, even if it's 2 years down the road. The complete step would also keep them from being subscribed to the sequence again if 6 months later they fill out this form again. Many people who are following you on socials, who are just kind of paying attention, who are interested but not yet ready, will opt in for a lead magnet more than once. If you have a sequence that delivers a product that someone buys more than once, like a coaching session or a group program that they might do more than one time, if you use a complete step, the next time they buy that program or opt in for that form, they won't get the sequence again, because Kartra doesn't just restart them in here. If they're in here already, they don't get the emails again. So we don't want that. When we go to our sequences, you'll see that this first number is the total number of subscribers all time. This middle one is the total number of active subscribers, and this last one is how many emails have been sent. But this middle one is what I'm looking at. If everyone is kept inside of the sequence by a complete step, then this number will just be the same as this number. It will be all subscribers of all time. But if we unsubscribe people when they get to the end of the sequence, then this number has meaning. The active subscribers actually tells us how many people are in that sequence and going through it currently at that moment. It gives us an accurate snapshot, and it's an analytic that we can actually do something with. If this was your lead magnet sequence and you at a glance were to come here and see that you have 10 people actively within that sequence, you might expect to have a couple of those book a call on your calendar. You can kind of tell how many people are in your pipeline. If you're using a complete step at the end of your sequences, then this number just doesn't tell you anything at all. The complete step really has no place in any sequences. Let's go ahead and delete that out. If you have a sequence where you're not ready to unsubscribe people yet because you might be adding more emails to it, what I suggest you do is just add in a wait step that comes right after previous step. This step will hold people in it, so we can take this out and move our wait step in. This step will hold people in it, but it has a loop at the bottom to allow you to add on from there. We have now gone through what the new sequence builder looks like, and I've given you a quick overview of most of my most important sequence tips, tricks, and best practices. If you have any questions or you found this walkthrough helpful, let me know in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notified when I add more videos. If you'd like to grab my 5 simple steps blueprint to building any funnel in Kartra, I'll leave the link in the description below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.